Greetings, everybody. Hello. Hello. How's everyone doing this fine day, this evening? Come on in the room. Yes, sir. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. If y'all can't see me and hear me, comment and let me know. Because one thing that the internet will do is play on your time. Hey, Jessica. Greetings. How are you? How are you doing, honey? Hey, hey, hey. Uh, 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 uh. Mm-mm-mm. How's everyone doing? Mm-mm-mm. Y'all, there's a couple of things. First of all, I didn't have a clear intention. I just go here and talk to y'all and see what y'all talking about and see what y'all up to and see what y'all doing. Hey, Sincerity 7. Greetings. Sincerity. Oh, I know you are. How you doing, boo? Mm. Listen, did y'all watch my Nature Boy video? I did that live. Yeah, when I did that yesterday. Yesterday. Hmm. And it was good. First 6 hours. So, hey, unapologetic wealth. I am well. How are you? Let me see. Cause I don't be knowing the nick. Wait, I remember you. You're in construction and things. I think I did. We had a session about. I think you was just getting ready to go and speak at a conference. Is that you or am I misremembering? Yes. Okay. Yes. I was like, I know that face. You watched it? Okay. Yes. Well, I'm so happy to see you, and I know that you are on the upward trajectory to more wonderful and excellent things. Yes, I'm so excited for you. I remember that, and it was right on time too. Other keynote since then. One next week. Look at you, shining, shining. Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that for you. I always love hearing about clients and just breakthroughs, successes. I have had, I can't even count how many sessions and readings and things and coachings and things that I've, hello, my vet, that I have done a long time for. Child, I can't even count. Um, and I just love when people pop in. Like someone popped in on the live the other day from 2 years ago, and she was like, hey, we had a reading 2 years ago, and I did everything that I now here come Manny. Uh I did everything that you said or everything that you saw, whatever she said, but it was very affirming. I was like, oh, I love hearing that. Because sometimes you be out here in these spiritual streets and you be like, listen, I'm just going to tell you what it is that I see, sense, and feel. And I'm grateful that it be right. Who was it? My friend Michael. I talked to him a couple of days ago and he was like, Darcel, you be right. I know, baby. I know. I know. Manny talking about what kind of late night chat we having. See, here you go. You be right. Okay. I think about the reading you gave me to your powerful reader. I thank you. I have learned so much, y'all. First, let me say this. Trust the process and don't be afraid of the evolution. There are going to be times where your abilities evolve. And in the evolution process, it's not always going to look the way that it normally looks. Why is my camera crooked like this? Now I'm a little to the side. I'm fine with this. Bounce it up. Yeah, it's not always going to be at all points of the journey. You cannot expect yourself to never to be in the fog. You're going to be in the fog at some point in time. And you just got to understand that. That's a part of the process. Whatever your ability is, not even separate from ability, whatever your work is, calling, passion, whatever, there are going to be some time that you spend in the fog. And the fog is also a part of the process. Thank you for the skin. Listen, I've started this new skin routine. I've been consistent with it, and it has been blessing me right now. And I honor that. I honor it. Thank you for the glow. Yes, but there's gonna be fog. That's a part of the process. So instead of us fearing the fog and freaking out in the fog, embrace the fog and understand that this is a part of the process. And so when the abilities first awaken, the giftings, if you will, I like the term ability. I think y'all may have heard me say this before, other than gifts, because sometimes when we say, come on, sit in the fog, or come on, now you better find the fog emoji. Because sometimes gifts, we think if someone is gifted, God, the source, the spirit, has chosen them. And there's an inherent goodness and godliness that is with them. And then we end up being swindled because we think that everyone who's gifted is good. And that's not true. There are people who can see, hear, sense, feel, tap into the spirit, get a message from your loved ones and and not be good people. They just have an ability. They're able to do it. So I will say that. That's why a lot of people be like, oh, but that's the prophet. I know that. Yeah, but that don't mean they're good people. Everybody not using their powers for good. Okay? But I love ability because it's an affirmation for me. Some are just able. Yeah. Some are just able. They're able. They got the ability. But that's also an affirmation for me to call it an ability because it is me affirming that this is something I am able to do. So I like to use that language. But I remember first time with mediumship, when I was experiencing ancestors or things coming through, I would get physical feelings. It was very much my chest. I would get slightly shorter breath. Or I would get cold. or I would feel heat and pressure changes all over my body. And then I would hear things, messages, and then I would start seeing some things. And then that shifted to where it didn't show up like that anymore. And then I start to question, oh, well, do I still got it? Oh, they say if you don't use your gift, it'll be taken away, you know, and all that other stuff. And so it changes, stuff evolves. Yeah. And also another thing, people are like, well, since you have this ability, shouldn't you have seen this coming? Shouldn't you have seen that? No. Just because I haven't a bit, first of all, I ain't sitting up there having visions all day. Okay, so let's just start there. That's not how it presents itself for me. And that's not how that happens. Here's the thing, life has to happen to you as well. There are things that I've experiencing that I'm like, Spirit, why didn't you show me this? Well, because that wasn't something you were supposed to stop or avoid or interrupt. So no, we didn't send you this message because this is something you're just supposed to experience, not something you're supposed to get in the way of. Because I be king trying to stop it. And so sometimes, so life, wisdom is gained through experience. And so having an ability does not mean you get to speed through and shortcut life. It is for you to move through life with more understanding. Yeah, a lot of growth, a lot of growth. Hey D, um, the other thing that I had to surrender is I had to surrender that there's a certain way the ability or the gifting, whatever language you use, has to show up. And that's untrue. Nope, it don't have to show up. And also, how I see, sense, and feel ain't like how somebody else sees, senses, and feels. So you are comparing abilities, baby, and y'all things don't even function that way. Let me tell you something. Hey, Manda, peace to you, love you, baby. Um, for me, don't come asking me no. Where did I can't find my car keys. Darcel, can you see where they are? Listen, sweetie, I don't do no remote viewing, stuff like that. I actually don't even like reading on like just yes or no type of things, because what I have learned through my work and my self-discovery is that the spirit don't let me see frivolous things like that. And I don't mean to call them frivolous, but like everything I see is deep rooted. What is the root cause? It's always some deep self work, growth ass stuff. I never see like, it's so and so. Does so and so like me? I don't ever see stuff like that. It's always like deep work that's gonna forward progress the soul. Like what's gonna move you to the next level of life. And even my ideas about the types of readings and things, Marve, it's coming up on 5 years since you gave me my first reading. That's so wild to hear, Marvette. Marvette, baby. Honey, Marvette is OG. So Marvette, so you have seen how I have grown and evolved and changed in the way that I do things. As I should and as you should. We should all be evolving. The dead things don't evolve. If you are yet alive, you should be evolving. Um, yeah, I never get to see, like, now I've had things where, like, I had this one client who is kind of, I guess you could say, a celebrity client. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because he is pertinent to what was going on in my mind. I'm like, oh God, I sit here and read for this man, and what if it's not right? Oh my God, what if I mess up? What if I don't see it clearly? And then it's going to be found out that I'm trash. And my worst fears is that I can't really see, or this is all that stuff. Baby, we got on. He sent me a link to join, and we had a private session. And he said, he tested me. He tested me. He said, okay, I'm going to give you 5 different people. And their government names. Because some of those people were known people on social media and stuff like that. So, and I want you to tell me what you see. I was like, dear God. I said, dear God, not this. And I said, all right, you just got to say yes and go with it. And baby, you would have thought, baby, I had binoculars the way I was seeing. And I was on it. Okay? I was on it. The first person, I was like, Spirit told me that the Spirit is showing me keys going into a door of a house. Did you help this person buy a house? They were like, he was like, I absolutely did. And that's the point of contention. And so it was just a lot of things like that was on it. So he tested me, and I was like, oh my God. And then he took me to, I then was invited to a conference where I sat on a panel with prophets and other things. And then and I'm thinking that, oh, we're going to speak and educate. I'm here to represent hoodoo and Black spirituality and this type of stuff and esotericism and that, baby. Then he said, we're going to read random people right now. I said, oh, hell. Not this. I got my first review 4 years ago, and you told me to learn to say no. It's been working. Come on, period. Yes. And I was like, now, why would you have us doing this right now like this? But we did it. So, one of the things that I've learned is ease is the way. Trust what comes up. Don't try to judge it and mix it up and all that type of stuff. Also, I have also experienced that sometimes with mediumship, sometimes the ancestors don't be having nothing to say. Sometimes they just are there to let you know that they're there. That's it. You be trying to pull this whole long message. They just want to say they're there. They want you to tell. They're going to bring anything else to your attention. They will. But also, everyone's ability is different. I have a sister friend who's a medium, and they be in full conversation. And that's how her things show up. I find that I'm a root worker through and through. The spirit be showing me stuff at the root. That's why when I develop the numbers, that's why my Afro-numerological system, honey, we're getting down to the root. We're not doing none of this frivolous stuff. I get on a session, somebody's like, hey, I just want to know like my career and like how are things gonna look for me the next 5 years? Am I on the right track? Baby, the people would be, the spirit would be like, great. But the spirit showed me you at 5 years old. What what is the guilt you have with your mother? What did you think you didn't save her from? Dear God. So it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. You think you want to talk about this? This is what we need to talk about. Peace. Come on, Cheapy 935. I look good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Manny said, yeah, that's how I do root work too. I haven't learned anything about the herbs. Man, now Manny. Manny said, child, I ain't learned anything about the herbs yet. Period. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm oh, that's a sad text I got. Anyway. Yeah, so much has changed. Let's talk about that. Do y'all have any questions about readings and psychic gifts, or maybe my experiences with readings and mediumship? Ask me some questions. Kay, oh, I am so well, Kay. I'm feeling great. Thank you for asking. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Eli. Why is he sending me this? Mm-hmm. Trying to think if I have any. And also, the spirit will gag you sometimes. I have been gagged on many occasions. I remember doing a reading on this lady, and we got through the whole session, baby. She was empowered. It was good. And then at the end, I start seeing. I'm clairvoyant, so the spirit shows me flashes. Flashes are like images of things, and so I kept seeing this flash of a man that felt like a brother energy to me, leaning on her, and he had like a red jersey. And I said he feels like he's the big brother, but he wasn't really the big brother. He thought he was the big brother. And I was like, yeah. I said, is there a brother that you have that has transitioned, that loves sports, probably the color red, or had like a red football team, team that wore red? He had a red jersey. He would lean on you and put his weight on you and try to like enforce that he was the big brother. And she said, yes, my brother that went missing and we didn't know if he was alive or dead. So, well, I guess I just got my answer. I was like, oh my God. You remember that? Right. Cause baby, I was like, yikes. I was like, Spirit, I hate this. Why would you have me reveal this like this? Why would you have me reveal this like this? Now it's like, well, what happened to him? Oh my God, we're not supposed to be getting into all this. Like, this is not what this is supposed to be about. How can I make sure what to do with my psychic abilities? How do I find my specific purpose when it comes to my spiritual abilities? Yeah. So one, I almost liken this to like singing. Everybody is not meant to be Beyonce or you know, Jennifer Hudson, Patti LaBelle, Aretha Franklin, like, as to say, to take their singing voice and put it on the national stage and be this singer for sometimes people are meant to be teachers, vocal teachers. Sometimes people are meant to sing in their communities in a theater space, right? Sometimes people are meant to sing jazz in lounges. Sometimes people are meant to sing opera. Sometimes so there's different ways that you can have this ability, and it is true and real. But where it is to be at and utilize, how it's supposed to be utilized, is something different, right? The first thing that I will always say is that I don't care what y'all want to be. If it's a Wiccan, witch, honey, Ianifa, Babalawo, Awo, whatever you want to do or be in whatever practice, the very first thing that you need to have a handle on is mindfulness, period. Because mindfulness will teach you how to have the awareness to hear, sense, and know what is for you, right? Mindfulness helps us to listen to our soul better and clearer. So you will naturally feel the correct impulses and be tugged and pulled into the right directions to go. I would say divine, always divine on it. And separate from divining, how has your gift shown up in your life? I'll give you this example for me. When I was in high school, I would get an urge to go up and talk to people, and they would end up crying, talking about their life story or their life experience, and they would end up crying, in tears about something. And it'll be something that was really, positive and freeing and uplifting or something like that. And I kept having these impulses to say certain things. And I just thought that, I was just like encouraging people. You grow up churchy, encourage. Oh, encourage. I didn't know that what I was saying was from the spirit. I didn't know that. And how I would see it function would be in helping someone get through something or uncovering something, or if a family member or a friend or someone would be talking to me about something, and I would say, yeah, but it feels like there's something else. And then I would just ask or say what comes to me to say. And so I got very clear that once I learned that it was an ability, when I realized what was happening, I thought I thought it was just my imagination. I was like, yeah, I just started envisioning stuff. And I just thought, no, but this clairvoyance, baby. I realized that the ability was in helping others, and it was happening so much, and in front of people, that I got clear that I was supposed to be more so in the forefront, right? Um, which is why I got pushed to getting on the internet and talking to people and doing readings and things. Um, so being aware to the pattern of your life, when is this showing up? And asking the spirit, is this something that's just supposed to be used for my family or for my community? Or is this something that I need to, maybe it's just something for me. Maybe this isn't something that I need to be doing for everybody. Maybe it's just for me. I know people who work roots, honey, and they just working for themselves. They don't do nothing for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Another thing is your sacred count. Let me see. What's your you remember your sacred count? Mm-hmm. Now we done got a lot of reasons, so I know you know your sacred count. What's your sacred count? See if you can remember it. For those that don't know, the sacred count is a part of the number system. Honey, my Black Afro numerological system. Yeah, so that's the date. So we'll use this for an example. Everybody, so you can find your sacred count. 3519, period. Period. You better know it. So you take a birthday. We'll take here. She's born 12/23/1972. From forth this in the numbers. This ain't nobody, and this ain't nothing to do with nobody else's system. So don't come tell me about what this person's system or a supreme mathematics or this is nothing related to them. This is a whole nother thing here. 12/3/23/1972. We take the month. The month, if it is a single digit, that's 1. If it's a double digit, we reduce that, right? So if you're born August, which is the 8th month, right, your first number would be 8. So that would be your birth gate, 8. For her, it's 12. We reduce that 12. 1 and 2 comes to 3. So her birth gate is 3. DJ, hey friend, you look snatched. DJ, well, I honor you. I thank you, friend. Listen, you got to pull it together. I had to pull it together. Okay. Thank you. It's 3. We look at the next number, which is, I call in my system, your soul nature number. That 2 and that 3 comes to a 5. So she'll be a 5 soul nature. We look at the year she was born, 1972. And when we add that together, 1 + 9 + 7 + 2, that comes to 19. Reduce that comes to 1. That year lets you know your ancestral current. This is the energy that you inherited, the energy, the questions, the work, honey, the quest, the karma that you inherited from your ancestry. And then when you add those numbers together, you get your divine mission number, which some people call the life path. I don't call it the life path. I call it the divine mission number, because divine mission number is the assignment that you have to fulfill. So 3519 is her sacred count. This is a spiritual social security number, I call it. You could take this, write this on workings, write this on, get a tattoo of it. That's I'm finna get that tattoo to cover up some of the scars that I got, honey, from my health experience. But that's your sacred. So hers is 3519. So let's just look at it. So three, the birth gate three, meaning the energy that you enter in. Okay. Her birth gate is three. Three is the number of the communicator. Three centers the self-expression, the voice, the speech. So there's a lot of channeling and just from an ability standpoint, when you have a birth gate three, this is someone who has an ability to speak and shift and impact people through their truth, through what they say, through how they communicate. So this is someone who has a gift of language. They can say things in a way and someone can receive it from them that they may not be able to receive it from others. This person three is also connected to joy. So she is able to light up a room and bring joy and to a space in a way that other people cannot. Okay, she can uplift people, she can inspire people with her voice. All right, that also for some people may translate into a creativity space, or it may translate into a musical space. They can sing, right? They love, or they have a love of music. But this three is in the birth gate, which means that this is an energy that shows up a lot through her childhood, and then also currently when she first enters into a space, how people first receive her is with that three. Okay, I might get a tattoo. Oh, hey, boo, let me see. Hey, your testimony has motivated me to keep moving forward. Great. I'm so glad to hear that. Listen, we got to be the sign to continue. I got my thing right on me right now. Okay, and listen, like I said, do I look like I'm a sick person, honey? Do I look like I am down and out? No, I do not. And part of that is the mindset that keeps you well. Okay. I see all the questions. How I'm gonna get to them. I'm here. So yeah, so that's a part of it. So she immediately has a gift of language and communication, which also may mean that she may get messages from music or from creative things or the way people speak, right? Language. But what I really want you to look at is that soul nature number. That's that second number, right? So what's y'all's birth date? Look, what's the day you were born? What are you born on? The 5th, 6th, 7th, 18th, 20th, 30th? What day? She was born on the 23rd, which means her soul nature is a 5. Thank you so much. Okay. So she got that 5. 5 is the number of movement. Okay. Let me see. 4, 17. Okay. On the 17th. So yeah, 5 is the number of movement. 5 is the number of liberation. 5 is the number of dramatic change. 5 is restless. Okay. 5 is freedom oriented. The soul nature number lets us know this is who you are at the core, separate from any role you play, mother, father, cousin, grandma, minister, whatever. This is who you are at the core. At her core, she's freedom. Okay. So she has a sensitivity to energy, right? Traveling is something that's going to be good for her and activate her abilities because she has that 5 with movement. So if we have movement, 5 is a number of dramatic change, right? 5 is a number of liberation. So she has a gifting when it comes to breaking stagnation, helping others free themselves. Combine that with her 3, which is being able to communicate and say things, a gift of language. She can communicate to someone to help free them from whatever they're dealing with or going through. So you see how that starts to show up and work together. See what I'm saying? See, look, she says she does. Spirit speaks to her through songs. She said all facts, just like that. So that's just an example. So you would be excellent. You may be excellent in empowering people and coaching and getting people to see what they need to see to get them motivated and going. You'll be amazing in that. And that's an ability. That's a gift, Lady Da, peace, Lady Da. I was just thinking about you the other day. Peace to you. I hope all is well. I know all is well. And if it don't look well right now, it will be well and get well-er. Let's see. Manny has 2891. So I see an 8. There's another 8 here. So Manny's sacred count. Eight is the number of power. 8 is connected to law. 8 is connected to karma. 8 is also connected to money, and structures, but like management. 8 is connected to justice. So somebody who has an 8, if you go and you shake some rocks and blow some smoke, your workings that's related to justice work and protection work and work with the court and the law, you're going to be a natural because your soul nature, the soul essence is in alignment with that work. So if you have an 8, baby, your spiritual protection game is strong. Oh, I was telling them about, honey, the numbers, doing some Afro numerology. Put your birthday in the comments. I'm just breaking down some of the placements. Okay, when you have that 8, we just speaking from a spiritual ability space. You said you always knew I will make a good lawyer, but went to therapy. That's all right, Kay, because your other stuff is what? 8. Well, you got 7. 8 is your birthday. You got a 7. 7 is good because 7 is analytical. 7 is the number of the mystic. 7 is someone who observes. So it's excellent for you to go into therapy. And you would also be good as a lawyer. 7 is also the number of hidden information. So you have a knack of bringing up, what is at the bottom, what is at the core, what's the hidden piece to the surface. So that works with you. Those that have 8, baby, got an authority. I want you to be mindful. If you have an 8 in your count, so Lady Di, your sacred count is 8 2 3 8 2 3 4 8 2 3 4. Save that. That's your spiritual social security number. That's it. So did I calculate that right? Yeah, I did. If you got an 8 somewhere, like you, Lolita, your soul nature is an 8. Most times people will say that you are intimidating. People be unnecessarily intimidated by you because 8 is such an energy of a judge, right? Because that's just the energy. You have that. So they feel assessed by you. They automatically sense an energy of a hierarchy with you, even if you're not even trying to do that, or even if that's not even what you're about. You got that energy. You have that presence. And so you run into that because you are a part of your soul is the 8. That's just the essence of, that's your divine design. Manny said, right. As my protection work is serious, I have reverse eviction with my ancestors in my life. Yes, tarot card, I think is what it's called. It's justice, truly. Yeah. And so that's just in the soul nature. We ain't even getting to the ancestral current space yet. That's a whole nother. We just gonna talk soul nature. So, for instance, if you have a 3 in your sacred count, as I said, 3 rules communication, 3 rules self-expression, 3 rules creativity. Oh yeah, but because you got other numbers too. There's a balance. Each number has a, what we would say, positive or negative, or light, dark, shadow, light version of it, right? Because 8 also, you could have control issues. Because 8 is a number of power. So so you run into problems where you're having to learn how to relinquish control. And that's a part of life lessons that come towards you. You want to be in the position of power. Okay. And you tend to end up in that. Even if you're not trying to be, you tend to end up as the leader or the decision maker. 8 also has a particular journey when it comes to money, a lot of karmic lessons around money, but also tend to always attract what you need. So when you're not in a learning period when it comes to finances, you be having everything that you need. And you don't have a problem securing that. Okay. Super curious about the ancestral current. Yeah. 7-3. Let me see. 1975. 1 + 9 + 7 + 5. Oh yeah, you got a master number 22. Yeah, so your count is 7, 3, 22. Let me see. 5. So it's 7, 3, 22, 5. That's sincerity. Yours is 5, 19, 1990. So yours is 5, 1. Hold on. 5, 1, 1. So then that would be 5, 1, 1, 7. Wait, no. 5, 1, 1. 8, 1, 1. Yeah, 7. It'll be 7. 5, 1, 1, 7. Yes, indeed. That would be your count. 5, 1, 1, 7. Plus 9 plus 8 plus 2. I'm gonna come back to what all this means in just a moment. 7, 8, 2. 7, 8, 2, 8. I think that's yours, Lolita. Let me see. 9 plus 8 plus 2. 7, 8, 2. Yes, so you got 2 8s. So you know what that means? Because you got those 8s, and those 8s are so karma centered and justice, Lolita, you don't get away with doing the wrong thing. When you got that 8, you got to live right. Sorry to tell y'all. You got to live right. As soon as you try to beat on everybody stealing and you steal, you be the one to get caught. Everybody this or you, then you be the one. It don't work out for. Or when you try to do the wrong thing, your soul just be like, I can't do it. It be you. And I got 2 8 2 8 9 8 7. My count. Oh Lord. Yes, indeed. So the birth gate tells you how people experience you. It is the gate your energy entered, your soul passed through to get here to this life. Right? So It marks a lot of the childhood and also people's first impression of you. So even though I'm chill right now, most of the time when people interact with me, I have a presence about myself that people are intimidated by, or they're like, I can't really joke with him. I don't know if he's, and I'm hilarious. Let's just say that. I am a hilarious ass person for real. I joke, I play all day. And if anyone you can joke with, it's just me. I am that person. I am the most unserious person in the world. Baby, they told me I had a it's so much. Anyway, that's besides the point. Let me get back to this. So that's that. Your soul nature number. That is found by the day that you're born. That is the essence of the soul of who you are. That's your natural instincts and your natural impulses. Okay. Soul nature is very important. It's your emotional baseline. That's your temperament. So me, I'm a number 9. I was born on the 18th. 1 and 8 is 9. So 9 is the number of the humanitarian. 9 is an empath down. 9 is a healer. Okay. 9 is someone that is compassionate and wise. 9 is old. That's an old soul. 9 is the ending of a cycle. I know some things say 7 is. That's an Abrahamic belief. We go 1 through 9 here. Okay. 9 is ending. 9 is the number, like I said, of the ancestor. So 9 has to do a lot with death and transition. So if you see someone who has a 9 or has multiple 9s, their life is normally marked with death around them dealing with the ancestors, them dealing with transition, or they can pinpoint transition points in their lives surrounding loss or death or that type of grief, something that requires them to grieve. And that normally leads them to their next self, their next level. A prime example, Iyanla Vanzant. I know y'all know Iyanla Vanzant. Iyanla Vanzant, Sacred Count. She's born September 13th. First of all, September 9, birth date 9. All right, 9, 4. 1 plus 9, 5 plus 3, 9. So she has 2 9s. 9. Her sacred count is 9, 4, 9, 22. So Iyanla Vanzant has 2 9s, one in her birth gate, and the other 9 is in her ancestral current. So she has an ancestral calling. It is 2 things in her divine design that is the healer. That's why she's Iyanla Vanzant. They always have the same essence, but they have a different function, Manning, depending on where they are. But they always are representing the same type of energy. So Iyanla Vanzant, we know she is a master healer. Iyanla Vanzant always, I told you, 9 is the feeler, empathic, the master empath, if we got to give it a title. Okay, 9 is so empathic. 9 gives the number of, it's the number of spiritual leadership, of humanitarian. 7, 8, 2, add those together and that'll get your 4th number. Your skin is everything. Thank you. Hey, Lady T. Yes, I love you. Thank you. I've been on my skincare routine. I've been doing the right thing. I got a bullshit tea. Okay. I've been doing the right thing, honey. Getting all these toxins out this body. Baby, she be on it. And I love her because she will clear somebody. Sometimes gotta clear some people. She'll be on live. Her lives are no nonsense. Lady T don't play no games. If you come with her with the foolishness, she's going to clear you and you will never be seen again. I love her. Consistent, okay? And she's consistent. So Iyanla Vanzant has 2 9s. As I said, 9 has to do with the ancestors and death. Both of her daughters passed away. And those have been significant, life-changing, shifting periods for her. And that is also why, through great grief and great loss, she is able to do the work that she is to do. For example, in the different way that 9 energy can show up. Last year, 2025, was a number 9 universal year. We know that because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 comes to 9. Think about all of the loss and the death and the crises that happened last year. So 9, the humanitarian, right? So that's another way that 9 would show up on a universal scale, right? We had those fires. 9 is also connected to fire and heat. So many people were exposed. Exactly. An end to their facades, endings, right? 9 is also connected, like I said, to fire and heat. So that year, we started the year with raging fires that caused a humanitarian crisis. Okay? So that's just an example. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. Transformation, right? 9. That's an example. So I'll just go through this. Let's say your soul nature is a 1. So you will either be born on the 1st or the 10th or the 28th. At the essence, that is someone that is independent, that is an initiator, that is self-driven. That's somebody who processes life through action and through leadership. They have the gift of innovation. Someone with a 1, they don't want nobody to copy them. They got to be their own person. Gotta be. Okay, well, Lady T, let's just go ahead and, since you are definitely the esteemed guest, you're born on the 29th, which means your soul, so that's the day you're born, the 29th. Your soul nature is a master number 11. That is the number of the spiritual conduit. You can't help but do what it is that you're doing. That is the visionary. That is the number of the intuitive. It's different from someone born on a 7 that is just a practitioner, or not just, is a mystic and study spirit. Those who have that mass number 11 are spiritually charged. It's like y'all got an antenna on y'all head. All right. And so, which is why, Lady T, and you can attest to this because you have that master number 11. Environments, super sensitive to energy. You have to be very mindful of covering your head, because you will get overwhelmed and drained and overloaded. Somebody coming to you, hate a fast talker. Somebody coming to you with a whole bunch of information, trying to pour into you, tell you all this. You're overwhelming me. Y'all need to back up. I'm getting overstimulated. That's anybody with that master number 11. Yeah, in some way, because you can get overstimulated. And also, 11 has to be mindful because that radar is open. And so you pick up on everything. So cleanses and stuff are very important because 11 is just magnetic. Yeah. 11 also has to, and hear me when I say this, if you're born on the 11th, if you're born on the 29th, if you're born in November and you got 11, you have to really take care of your mental health because that energy, the head is so charged that you can short circuit and have a mental breakdown or lose it, go from 0 to 100 on somebody, end up in a situation because there's so much energy that rests on the head when you have that master number 11. Okay, so 11 is also the number of the prophet. So you're always channeling. You're always getting messages, always. And so one of the things that helps with the master number 11 people is asking Spirit, is this what I'm getting? Is this something that is for me to know, or is this something for me to do something about? Because sometimes you just be picking up on stuff and it's just for you to know, not for something for you to do. You say I go from 0 to 100 at least 100 times a year. I'm working. That's okay. You just got to know. And that's why the most important thing for someone who has that 11, baby, you got to be grounded. You need that grounding, because otherwise you'll be in the atmosphere. Okay. That's that 29. Yeah, magnetic. I already looked up next year. It's a fire goat. I'm curious about fire. It's like a purging. We know master number 22. Yeah, those who have a master number 22, any of those master number 22s, the assignment is huge. So you have that 22 if you are born on the 22nd, or if your ancestral current, or when you add up your month, day, and year, comes to a 22. Thank you for that. 22 is the master builder. 22 tends to accumulate things slowly, but the things they accumulate last. 22 is a material, while master number 11 is very spiritual. Master number 22 is in the physical. So master number 22 is about making tangible things. They are legacy builders. And they're never supposed to, when you got a master number 22, y'all don't do things on low key. Everything has a large impact. It's a large, long-lasting impact. Legacy building legacy. Yeah. Generational wealth. All of those things concern that master number 22. Let's talk about the ancestral current. So you find your ancestral current by adding the year up that you were born. What's y'all's ancestral current? Baby, my boyfriend is texting me right now, and I need for him to know. Do you think the numbers are more accurate than astrology? What I will say, as I'm not really an astrology person, that's not necessarily my thing, but someone that I adore, y'all know I love Queen Poe. She's an astrology girly. Everything that I have done with the numbers have aligned exactly with what was going on astrologically. So it all coincides. I think, I don't know if I'm going to say more accurate or not. I just think it's a different way of getting that information. 1. Lady T, okay, 18. So yours is 9. Men, your ancestral current is 5, Lady T. So the ancestral current, this is why this is a black ass system. Because when I was examining other numerology systems, they don't even talk about this like this. They talk about, we need it from a black ass perspective. Okay. And it's so accurate. I have done readings, and it's been so beautiful looking at that ancestral current. So your ancestral current is your bloodlines. It's like the spiritual river that your bloodline was born in. So it lets you know what is your energetic inheritance that you get from your lineage, because you don't get everything from your ancestors. And not everybody gets everything. This is the energy specifically that you inherited, and the energy your ancestors made sure that you came through and was born at this time to inherit these things and this work or this assignment. So this is about what your bloodline carries, right? But again, what came to you. This is about what your family has survived. This here is about what family patterns repeat, right? And also what ancestral contracts are active. Yes, that's exactly right. So, I'll give you this example. It also can connect you to ancestors that are heavy on your team. Let me explain this to you. This was the wildest thing. I had a woman, I had a session with her, and her ancestral current was 9. Remember, I told you 9 is the number of the ancestors. 9 is connected to death and transition. 9 is connected to fires, right? Wisdom and all that. But hear that, fires and death. Let me explain something to you. This woman, while we were on our session, her son came through. I found out that her son committed suicide, right? And from forth her son committing suicide, she went on and she has started this whole thing for grieving mothers and a foundation, and has done all this work. But pay attention. Her son was born on the 9th. Death and transition and experiencing that was already encoded into her sacred count. That ancestral 9 energy, she had a 9 son who died early and became an ancestor, and thus helped her to fulfill her ancestral obligation. And part of what he wanted to do, he was someone who wanted to spread joy and happiness, a very pure, happy-go-lucky type of child. And now her mission was to help grieving mothers find joy again. So because her ancestral current is 9, which means she has a fulfillment of the 9 energy in her lineage, her son, because it don't matter if you the son, the oldest, the baby, the whatever. Once you transition, you are an ancestor. So she is fulfilling her ancestral current. The death of her son was a part of the plan to both fulfill her destiny and her son's. Baby. And do you know the money? I can't even, it's making me shout. After her son died, the home that she was living in caught on fire. They said it was a cigarette that was on the porch that smoldered overnight and then burned the house down. Ain't that crazy? No, because it was her son, who's the number 9. I told you 9 is connected to fires. It burned that house down. They were able to rebuild the house. They sold the house. And now she's able to live the rest of her life off of that money. Why? Look, in real time, Lady T says, my daughter that passed away was born on the 27th, 9. And my ancestral current is 9. I'm telling y'all, in real time. And so, since we on the ancestral current 9, there is a family pattern of grief, right? You may have found that there's ancestors whose life ended early, i.e., your daughter who's now an ancestor, right? We feel that, right? We feel that their life ended early. that tends to speak of a lineage having to do with wisdom and like I said, endings, and also service, spiritual service. Ancestors who were compassionate, ancestors who would sacrifice anything to help somebody, right? Think about your daughter, right? Who was a natural healer, someone who, was empathic, who cared about people, right? Cared about how they felt. If they were going through something, give someone the shirt off their back. Nines also carries an ancestral gifting of healing and leadership, spiritual leadership. The gifts also of if it shows up in a clairvoyance way, they are able to clearly see what the root problem is. Because 9 is the healer. 9 can make a bath, honey, a medicine, a mojo, whatever type of medicine, and heal a situation. And so one of the things that is necessary for the ancestral current 9, because there's always an assignment, is to release being the martyr. So for you with the 9, if you have an ancestral current 9, there is a pattern in the lineage of the martyr. Someone who's overgiving, who's suffering to their own detriment. And we must heal that. And no, honey, people have already died. We don't have to die for this. So your assignment is releasing the martyr. How can I give and be of service without self-sacrificing? If you have an ancestral current, that's a number 1. That speaks to a lineage that it was survivalist. Okay, very masculine energy, right? Ones also speak to first generations. If you got a 1 in any one of your placements, you tend to be the first in your family to do a thing. A generation of first. A common pattern for those with the 1 is family pattern, emotional distance, or maybe there's a parent that's not there, or you see a pattern where none of these people got fathers or none of these people's mothers stay around, and they end up having to be hyper independent, right? That's an ancestral current that has to be healed. Also, there's gifts of being an innovator that comes through the 1. You say, yep, my dad, he was the first to do everything in the family. I'm telling y'all niggas, listen, niggas lie, but the numbers don't lie. Oh, yeah, no, ancestral current 9. Everyone get that chance. Right. Oh, yeah, yours is the 3. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna get to that. Niggas lie, but numbers don't. I be trying to tell y'all this. Yeah. They're innovators, they're entrepreneurs. They're someone who's interested in cutting their own path, right? They don't want to do what everybody's done. They don't like a copycat. They always unique. They may be a loner. Well, maybe not a loner in the sense that they're going to do it on their own. They don't need you to do it. And it'll kill them for you to do it. Okay? So if you got a 1 in your ancestral current, then part of the healing apart for your lineage is for you to learn how to lead without isolating. There's a difference between solitude and isolation. There's a difference between you being able to do it and you having to do it. You don't gotta do it on your own. Right? You can. That don't mean you should. Okay? That tracks. Now, if you got an ancestral current 2, that person inherited a relational bloodline. So 2 is the number of relationship and emotional awareness and partnership and kind of being in the middle. I find that people with a 2, so even if it's not in your ancestral current, if you're born in February, if you're born on the 2nd, we don't reduce master numbers, so I'm not going to say the 11th. If you're born on the 20th, right? Or if you're born, if your ancestral current comes to a 2 or whatever, you more than likely were and are the middle person in everybody's breakdown. You're the diplomatic one. You the one that got to bring people together. You always in the middle. I find people with the 2 are always in the middle in their family between 2 different disagreeing parties, and they got to be the one to bring the family cohesion. That's heavy 2 energy. So if you have a 2 in your current, that means that you got a family pattern of codependency, right? Family pattern of silence, sensing, feeling, but not feeling comfortable enough to share. Just holding the emotion instead of feeling it. So emotional suppression, essentially. And also, when people got that 2, baby, that 2 tends to be a fear-based peacekeeper, and they got to heal that. There's a difference between keeping peace and keeping quiet. Peace and quiet are 2 separate things. Are you keeping the peace or are you just being quiet? You're just being quiet, baby. But 2 also gives you an intuition, and emotional intelligence, and all of your connections are so special and strong. But in the ancestral current, one of the things that you got to do is to restore boundaries and healthy relationships, because I'm telling y'all the positives and lightweight negatives of the numbers, because I'll tell you who also has a 2. Eligio Bishop, nature boy, the cult leader. So look at that. That 2 that is centered in codependency, that could be, I don't want you to leave me, turns into, you can't leave me. You are not allowed to leave me. You see what I'm saying? So these numbers can get real crazy if you don't keep yourself well. So if your ancestral current is 3, that is an expressive bloodline. You got an ancestry that's creative, and they're storytellers. They performed a lot, right? Very exaggerated people. People who prioritize joy and prioritize having a good time. That's on the positive. On the negative, it was terrible communicators, miscommunication. Also, people who hide pain. Check this. If you got a 3 anywhere, you're born in March, you're born on the 3rd, born on the 21st, born on the 30th, or your ancestral current of divine mission comes to a 3. These are also people who hide pain behind humor. They always got a joke about it. Huh? Yeah. They always got a joke about it. Or they distract themselves. They get distracted. They always distract themselves to prevent dealing with the harder, harsher things. 3 also speaks to an ancestry with suppressed voices. So you got that 3 because they want you to speak for them, to break that pattern of quiet, of the lack of self-expression. So speaking up, right? 3 also can be real scattered. I talked about that distraction. So you have a gift of artistry that comes through that. You got a gift of public influence, a gift of sacred speech. Like when you can say something that can really send an impact. Let me tell you something. If somebody got a 3, their prayers is strong. Their man, when they write their stuff out or they say whatever their affirmations and stuff is strong. Now that's just it. It got some power. Okay. When they got that 3, they don't be nothing to play with. You are telling on me. Absolutely. Yes, indeed. And so I have found that the most common um and I'm giving y'all a very short, like a, you know, short synopsis of this. Because it's one thing about how these individual placements, what they mean. It's another thing of what number it is. It's also another thing of what your whole count looks like and what that means with all those number interplaying. Right? Which I'm like, girl, we just need a one-on-one time, honey. But I have found when you have that 3, part of the assignment is to heal the family voice and reclaim the family voice. Use yours, communicate. Don't continue that pattern of quiet. Say what you need to say. So that's 3. What's next? 4. If you got an ancestral current 4, now 4 is the number of discipline and hard work and structure and stability and routine and order and hierarchy. So if someone is born in April or born on the 4th or on the 13th or well, no, because we don't reduce the 22nd, but it's connected to the 22nd as well. Or you got a 4 anywhere else. Those people are hard workers and they also overwork. They also tend to be a rigid people. They when they got their routine, they like to stick to that. They also 22-4, yeah. They also inherit a fear of scarcity, thinking there's not enough and they got to get it while they can. Oh, if I don't do it, it's going to run out. And there's also an emotional restriction with those 4s. But let me tell you something about the 4. 4 can also be real harsh and disrespectful. They talk real hard. You be like, bitch. Or they can just be hard, harsh. That's the 4. But let me show you an extreme of this. You know who else has a 4? P. Diddy. That nature boy has a 4 as well. So but I'm telling you an extreme example of how that 4 can be distorted to controlling and abusive. And these are my rules and these are my rituals and you will not change it. You will not break it. So everybody with a 4 ain't P. Diddy, but I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about the good and bad of these numbers. Okay, so we got to see that, and it take a lot. Yeah, 4s are stubborn. You generally have to make them feel like it's their idea for them to do it. Look at you, 22-4. But when you got a 4 in that ancestral current, you got an ancestry of hard workers and disciplinarians, all right, and harsh people, okay, and overworkers. But that gives you a gift of stability, baby. You always gonna have it. You always gonna have it. You always gonna make a way. Ain't no problem with that. Get with a 4, baby. They gonna make sure. 4s can be real reliable. 4 is, listen, also thinking long-term. They thinking legacy. Which is why 4, even we honor the mass number 22, but if you do 2 and 2, it comes to 4. So it's like a mass number 22 is a supernova 4. So yeah. So I find that the lesson is heal your ancestors by learning to build without overburdening yourself and overworking yourself and wearing yourself out. Find the joy in life. And there's some weird quirks to these numbers. Sometimes 4, medically, people with 4s get strange illnesses, like, or strange. There's like, they don't know, like the doctors don't know what happened. It's like a puzzle. It's, I don't know why. Where did this come from? Like a weird unknown. They be having weird unknown health shit that come out of nowhere. And we know this is true because we look at 2020. And suddenly there's this whole disease came through. Don't nobody know where the fuck the shit came from. Okay. So weird tier. You said voice checked out for 6 months and no answer. That's what I'm saying. Y'all be having weird stuff. If you have a 5 again is the number of liberation. 5 is the rebellious one. 5 is also the wild one. So if you're born in May, or you was born on the 5th, or the 14th, or the 23rd, or you got a 5 in your current or your divine mission number. 5s constantly change and move. 5 needs their home to not be cluttered. 5 needs a home that they can rearrange. 5 cannot stay in one place, one job, sometimes one relationship too long. 5 needs movement. Okay, and if we're going to be in a relationship, baby, we got to keep it interesting because 5 is such an experience-centered person. 5 needs that experience. When, oh, no, that wouldn't work universally. We're technically in a 6 universally. Baby, 5 needs freedom. If somebody got a 5, the moment they feel like you trying to limit them, baby, they're out of here. If they feel like you trying to hold them down, they're out of here. They're not going for it. If they feel like you trying to oppress me, or you trying to shackle me or stop me from, the relationship is going to fall apart. Anybody that got a 5, think about relationships that break down and watch. One of the primary things is you felt limited and they didn't want you to grow and expand yourself. But I also want you to know this. If you have an ancestral current of 5, and even if you're a 5, I need you to be mindful of the drugs. Because 5 is a number that wants to experience. 5s like want thrill. So 5 can fall into addiction patterns easily. Thrill seeking. Because 5, that movement, right? Don't want to be bound. So 5 also gives way to escapism. You see what I'm saying? So 5 end up drinking all the time, or smoking or sniffing, whatever the children do all the time, or partying all the time, or wanting sex all the time. You said, Def, I had to stop drinking. Yeah. So you got to be mindful. So if you had your ancestral current, you got that energy. So you got to know, wait, I got to be careful. Or maybe I'm battling this. Like this is so hard to overcome because this is an ancestral current, bitch. This is an ancestral lesson. I find that 5s be the liberators. 5 are the people that they're not going to take it, bitch. They're going to break out. You want to know who has a 5? Malcolm X. Liberation. Malcolm X was born 5-1. 1, I told you, the leader, right? 5-1. What's his ancestral current? 1 + 9, 2 + 5, 8. 5-1-8. 5. He has 2 5s. His divine mission is a 5. That's crazy. Let me look at something. That done got me. Oh, he died in a 3 universal year. 3 is also the number of propaganda, gossip. He died on February 3rd, 1965. He died in a 5 universal month, which is the number of his divine mission, which lets us know that his mission was complete and that energy came right back around. The universe was in agreement with his divine mission number, which is why he remained as a symbol of liberation and freedom. That was a part of his assignment. I'm telling y'all, the way the numbers come around is crazy. So you will find a lot of those liberators have 5s or have 9s. Let's pivot. Let's wait. Well, let's name somebody. Name somebody. Let's look at their numbers and let's see how it pan out. Yeah. Malcolm X, 5'1". Yeah, he was the leader. He was always going to be different. He was always going to stand out. And one is an innovator. They do stuff on their own. So that's why he tried to join the Nation of Islam. Then he ended up leaving because he's not meant to exist in those types of spaces. Come on. Not Candy Burris. Yeah. Candy Burris is an 8. She was born on the 17th. 5. She got 2 5s. So her ancestral current is 5. And she was born May. Her birth date is 5. Baby, that's also why the things that she has, because 5 again is moving, right? 5 also rules social media. 5 rules travel, right? So think about it. Candy is a writer. And that's why it's easy for her to make hits that cross over and write hits that are international. And she stay moving. But do y'all see how the numbers are working together? And 8 is the number of like I said, power, business, money, legacy. You see that? It's wired right there for her. Moving equals travel. Absolutely. Yeah. 6. I should have. I'll be jumping all over. 6. If you have a 6 anywhere, so if you're born in the 6th month, the 6th day, if you're born on the 15th or you're born on the 24th, she stays with something she's doing. Yeah, absolutely. 6 is the caretaker bloodline. 6 is the number of this love. 6 has to do with aesthetics and beauty. 6 loves beautiful things. 6 is really heavily connected to family and service and family duty. 6 is domestic. Okay, 6 is centered in responsibility, but of your family, of those of which whom you are responsible for. 6s have to be mindful of overgiving and overcommitting and being the martyr. 6 has to be mindful of parentification, always trying to be somebody's motherfucking daddy or mama and taking on that burden. Look at the people that got 6s, and it may be you. And you tend to be a burden caregiver. You end up being the one taking care of everybody, but 6 have ability of healing, baby, and good at building community. 6 can make, if you have a 6, normally people come around you and they just feel cozy. They feel at home. 6 is the number of home. Okay. That's why when people are in personal year 6s, they tend to move, or they tend to upgrade their homes, or they tend to renovate, or redo their personal selves, or do their beauty, or something like that. Look, if you got a 7 somewhere, 7 got a mystical bloodline. If your ancestral current is 7, 7 is the number of the mystic. 7 is the number of the secret keepers as well. 7 is the number of spirituality. 7 is hidden wisdom. 7 is isolation. You think about the mystic that went out into the wilderness, honey, and lived there for 6 months to hear a word from the spirit. That's 7. But when you got that in the ancestral current, 7 is also an analyst. So people who are 7s, they tend to overanalyze stuff, overthink, you know. But baby, they know what they be talking about. They research, honey. They study. They want to dive deep. When you have a 7 in your ancestral current, more than likely you have a family full of secrets and people who say, "Don't you tell nobody but God." Okay, have an ancestral current that suffers from loneliness and also religious trauma. I find, yeah. But baby, they got mysticism. They are diviners. They are wise people. And so 7s must learn how not to isolate, but how to be in solitude and thus get revelation. You don't get revelation from isolation. You down spiral when you're in isolation. Okay. We already talked about 8 and 9 a lot. So let's tap into some people. Okay, you said Shaka Khan. Let's look at Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan. 5. No, what she March 23rd. She's a 5 again. So she has a 3. We talk about creativity. Of course, she's a musician. Shaka plays the drums. Of course, she's a singer. She's an artist for real. She has that 3 as a birth gate. She got the 5. So question, do you break the month, day, and year down to singles? Those would apply. Correct. That's correct. But also Shaka has that 5, right? Shaka do what she want to do. She is a rebellious baddie. She's the original rebellious baddie. So that's what she do what she want to do. All right. Shaka was a part of Black Panther Party, Liberation. That's connected to 5. Shaka also was a drug addict. Right? Again, those experiences. Shaka was on drugs in like 2014. She just got off of drugs, girl, in her 60s. Okay. What's her ancestral current? 153, 1953. She has a 9 ancestral current, which is probably, I don't know much about her story, but that means she has an ancestry dealing with grief, right? And she's also fulfilling something with her ancestors with learning to release. Let me tell you something about those with the 9s. 9s have trouble releasing, holding on to so much, and not you. If you feel you got a 9, you need to cry. You need to have a therapist. You need to have someone to vent to and release. Because 9s, we hold on to shit so much. And hell, that's probably the reason why my goddamn kidneys gave out, girl, because I was just holding on to stuff. And the kidneys is the organ that's responsible for detoxing. See that? And I was holding on to shit for 13, 14, 15, 20 years that I didn't know I was holding on to. But I was. Okay. So that's Miss Shaka. Shaka Khan. Okay. Let me see. 5. Let me see. So 5. Let me see. 3 plus 5 plus 9. Plus 9. So she has an 8. Oh, yeah, of course she's going to be successful, honey. What she got? Yeah, so that tracks. That tracks with Shaka. Who else? Who else do you want to think about? So the year number is it? Yes, it is. It's your ancestral current. And I also want y'all to know this. If you try to look this up, you're not going to find anything because the spirit gave me this. If you try to look up, like, tell me more about my ancestral current, the people are going to be like, what are you talking about? Okay, but we understand it now together. You say Janet Jackson. Let's look at Janet. Janet Jackson. 5, 7. 5, 7. She was born May 16th, 1966. Master number 22. 5 plus 7 plus 22. which comes to her divine mission number is a 7. I'm glad I ran 2 yesterday. Oh, you did. Come on, new. I, I love that. Yeah, so she has 2 7s. 7 is again the number of secrecy, right? 7 is quiet. Janet's music is she's literally whispering. The analyst, right? The perfectionist, secret keeper. You don't know what's going on with Janet. Absolutely. But that 5 again, Janet 5 is also very sexual. And we already know that about Miss Jackson. Okay. And again, we just steamrolling because some of these numbers, all these numbers have occupations. So your numbers can also tell you the best types of careers and stuff that your soul aligns with. And then we could even go so far to look at places and addresses and cities. Baby, it gets deep in this numerological space. Uh-huh. 4-1. Correct. That'll make your divine mission a 7. Yes, it is. Your assignment is a 7. That's the one thing we ain't talked about is the divine mission. Who y'all said? Grace Jones. Come on, Grace Jones. Grace Jones. Yes, Grace Jones. And there's so much. There's even in the system an age spirit. So the age that you are now, that is also another thing. Y'all, I got so much to talk to y'all about. Let's talk about one thing at a time. One thing at a time. So Grace Jones, May 19th. Grace Jones, so her number is 5-1, master number 22. So she was born May 5. We know Grace Jones, sexually liberated, rebellious, going against the grain. She's a number 1 soul nature. 1, the innovator. 1 of 1. That's Grace Jones to a T. Everything she got. Be brand new. Be her own spin. Nobody does it the way she do it. She can't help but be like that. That's the way the universe designed her. 1948, master number 22. Yeah. So building legacy. Grace Jones is still performing. So everything that she has built has lasted her to this time. Her divine mission is a number 1. She got 2 number 1s. She got 2 number 1s in her sacred count. That's why she is as original as she is. It's a part of her divine design. She couldn't help but be that way. Couldn't help it. I saw someone say Michael Jackson. Let me explain the divine mission. This is your sacred assignment. So this is less about who you are and more about what you come here to do. So when you have a divine mission, which we all do, you don't start off as this person. You are working towards it. So that's why you may look at the divine mission and be like, wait, I am not this. If you have a 7, I'm not this super mystical, isolated, like disciplined, spiritually person. Yeah, no, because that's what you're working towards. It's who you're going towards. It is your higher calling. Okay, it is your life spiritual curriculum. All right, it is your path of mastery. So it's the lessons that you have come here to learn, to embody, to embody. Let's learn, but embody. And so this is who you are being shaped to be over time. So we find our life purpose in our divine mission. Who am I? What am I here to become? Right? We also can see our long-term spiritual evolution through our divine mission. Our greatest lessons come through our divine mission. And also, it'll tell us why certain challenges and certain stuff repeat. You will look at the age the same. So here's the difference with the age. Celebrate y'all's birthdays, y'all. Celebrate your birthday. Every birthday, hear this. Every birthday, there is a spirit that comes to sit with you for 365 days. That spirit comes to be your teacher and walks you through that year's curriculum. And remember, your age crosses 2 universal years. So you could be 22 in a personal year 3, and that 22 is going to walk you through 3 and a little bit of 4. You see what I'm saying? So it's important that you honor your birthday and you look at the number that you're turning, because that's the age spirit that is coming to you. So you as a master number 22 right now, because you're 22 years old, amen. 2 and 2, that comes to 4, but we honor the master number 22. Since your birthday, you have been thinking about, you've been having thoughts about legacy, long-term wealth. What am I building for myself? What am I going to build to last? Time is passing. I need to establish myself, I need to fortify myself. And that's going to be what's going to be on your mind as you are moving through this year. And so you're going to be looking at more long-term things. Focus on long-term things. You're not going to be interested in short-term thrills, because right now that 22 is like, baby, we got to be future-minded and future-focused. 44, so you got an 8 right now. So the spirit teacher that's with you is the spirit of 8, which is money, business, contracts, decisions, power, right? And so you're going to be walking through those things, or they're going to be teaching you that. You're 41, so you got a 5 spirit. So when you're 41 hit you, you said, wait a minute, I need to get free. Wait a minute. I need to liberate myself. I need to change. I may need to move. I'm looking at moving and doing some different things. Okay, that sits closest with you. Not wanting to be stagnant. That's a whole nother thing that brings forth in your life. You're 46, you got a 1. So you really been looking at more innovation, right? New starts, feeling fresh, maybe redoing yourself, reinvigorating yourself. That's that 1 spirit that comes to walk with you. So you got to celebrate your birthday, because you're welcoming in a new energy that's going to be a teacher for you. So you got a 40, so you're 45. So 9, so more than likely you've gotten lessons on decluttering. You start to get rid of things, right? Grieve things. You've been emotional, sensitive. Like, what's this stuff coming up? You closing circles, like any loose ends, wrapping up loose ends. That comes with that 45. Yeah, because you're leaving that 9 going to that 1. That's right. From 46. Yeah. 45 to 46. Exactly. And sometimes it's hard to tell with the age spirit because you're actively in it. I would want you to look at the year before and look at what you walked through in the year before and look at that number and see how that applies. Yeah. From birthday to birthday, you get a new teacher. The divine mission number is the sum, also known as the life path numbers. You said ending a lot of friendships and frenemies. Yeah. The divine mission number is found by the day, month, plus the year. So you can find stuff on the life path. I don't know if it's going to have this black ass interpretation, but Yeah, 7 was tough. Ooh, oh yeah, I'm telling you. And 7 also, when y'all find yourself in the 7, or even if you find yourself, now we just talking about the numbers like this. We ain't even talking about your personal year and your personal month and your personal week. So to find the personal year, that's why I be trying to say it's so many layers to this. And it interacts with things differently. More than likely, there's something that you need to communicate that you're not communicating, or there's things that you need to say that you need that you haven't said. That's why you're seeing a lot of 3s. Because y'all, if we can figure out the patterns of life, life becomes a lot easier. I'll give you this example. I'm a number 9, my soul nature, 9, right? My personal year, we find the personal year by taking the month we were born, plus the day we were born, plus the universal year. That gives you your personal year. So I'm born August 18th. So I would do 8 plus 9, 2026, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 6 is 10, which is 1. So this is a universal 1 year. So I would do 8 plus 9 plus 1. And that would tell me 8 plus 9 plus 1, or 8 plus 18 plus 1, whichever way you want to look at it. I'm in a 9 year. 9 is the number of healing. At the start of this year, I find out that I'm in a whole end-stage renal failure. And immediately my healing journey started with that. 9, right? 9. And guess what? The thing that got me to the hospital was the smoke from the fireplace. The fire from the smoke. I told you 9 is connected to heat and fire. So here's the thing. That's why I don't have no negative view of what I'm going through, because I'm clear that this is a part of the cycle. This is in my numbers. This affects me just like this. Does 2 break down to 2, or is it a massive number? No, it breaks down to just 2. Y'all see what I'm saying? So my attitude about it, because I know, I'm like, well, of course, I'm a number 9. This is specifically, I know that 9 goes through elevation, through loss and grief and healing cycles. So when this hits me like this, it's because this is what this is supposed to do. That's why, am I functioning? Do I look like a person who has 7% kidney function? No. Do I live like, no. In fact, I'm a head scratcher to all of my doctors, because they don't understand how I'm doing this, because I know my numbers and I'm in alignment with the source and the spirit. So I know what this season is about. This is not for me to be sitting up here dying from kidney failure. This is a necessary journey for me, because if I'm going to be the healer, I need to know what it means to be sick. Do y'all see that? Let me gag you again. My divine mission number is a 7. My kidneys function was at 7%. So while that diagnosis or prognosis, that information is scary, because I know my numbers, that's actually a sign that everything is all right. It's going to be all right. Y'all see what I'm saying? That's why we got to know this stuff. So because I'm listening to that, I'm hearing that, And they're like, yeah, your kid, you got 7% kidney function, baby, but nothing else is matching that. Your urine production is that of somebody who has 100% function kidneys. Your this is everything. So we just need to get you a new kidney, baby. But I don't have anybody helping me. It's nothing like that. I got this thing here because I hook up to do PD dialysis at home at night. I plug it up when I go to sleep and I wake up and I live my life. So there's a supernatural covering. None of my other organs are affected, nothing. There's a supernatural covering that is happening, which is how I know. You understand what I'm saying, y'all? That's how we got to know what our numbers and stuff is. The lady said to me, the dietitian was like, are you having any suicidal thoughts? Are you, depressed? Because I have to put you on medication for your vitamin D. I said, no, I feel great. I'm very positive and very motivated and everything. And she was like, really? I said, yeah. She said, because the normal range for vitamin D levels are 100 to 120. Yours is at 9. She said, so I don't know why you're not experiencing any of that. We're going to get you on this medicine so you can get your numbers up. Okay. But gag, that's a detrimental number in medicine. But I am a number 9. So that is yet another sign. Y'all see? I'm born on the 18th. My soul nature is a 9. So it'd be like, yes, y'all telling me 7%. That's my divine mission number, though. So I see that as a sign. Y'all don't know it, but I know it. And y'all not the motherfuckers that need to know it. I need to know that. So I can not let my mind spiral in a negative space, but I can see what this is about. You see? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah. Let's look at somebody else. Y'all said Michael Jackson. Let's see Michael Jackson. 8, 29, master number 11. Seeing 5 used to bring me concern, but then I found out your life path, expression, soul numbers are all 5. Okay, I got you. Yes, now I see 17, 8, and my finances be like, God help me, right? A lot of money lessons, yes. A lot of lessons around that. Mm-hmm. But you end up being sustained. Do you or do you not, Lolita? Some way or another. Yes, sir. I know. Michael Jackson, sacred count is 8, 29. So 11. 1 plus 9, 5. Let me see. 5. A 5 ancestral current. 8 plus 11 plus 5. And a divine mission of 6. Yeah. So, of course, he is a genius when it comes to music. Of course, he's out of this world. He has a master number 11. That is a highly spiritual, weird-ass, prophetic-ass number. That is also the number of someone who is super sensitive to their environment and take on everything, i.e., you grow up in an abusive home, you are absorbing all of those mean things your father said about you. That also means that when you become a mega superstar, because you have that master number 11, that can affect the field. You are Michael Jackson, and you just stand on stage and people is passing out. And let me tell you this. He died in 2009, which was a master number 11 year. So his soul nature number 11 and the year of the universe came into alignment. the year he died. In June, which was an 8 universal month, which is his birth gate 8. And let's see what personal year he was in. He was in a 3 personal year, but he died in June 9. In a 9, he died in a 9 personal month for him, which is the month of the ancestors. 9 is also the month of accidents. 9 is a number of accidents. And he died the 4th week. Yeah. So there's even that. We can even look into that. We can look into when events happen and when people died. And what energy they exited through and what was in alignment. And you see a lot of cycles completed. And I'm not saying it means that they don't complete it. They got to come back. I'm not saying that. But you see things line up and it gives some information as to, got it. It was the same number. Had their numbers checked out. So if I'm 23 in August, I'll be experiencing the spirit of 5, then absolutely. That's when that's going to hit you. Yeah. Absolutely. And so he had a 5, so he dealt with the ancestral current of 5. So he had a ancestral burden and karma around not being free. If they get to 33, that is a master number. That's the number of the master teacher. That's extension of the 6. Baby. That's the Jesus number. Or the Christ, the number of the Christ. There's been many Christ, by the way. So they got to really be careful of being a martyr, baby. They be the biggest martyrs. Like how Jesus died on the cross. That same type of complex applies. Being a savior, thinking they have to save everybody. Absolutely. Yes, a new teacher comes. So there's a new teacher every birthday. Correct. Yeah. Let's look at Prince. Take a guess. I can when we've gone through the numbers, how would y'all describe Prince? What's something that you would describe Prince as? Don't look him up. Don't look up nothing. Just what would you describe Prince as? Not even number wise. Just what do you think about when you think of Prince? I think of somebody that's secretive, right? Elusive. He's eccentric, mystical, eclectic, right? Yeah, as an aunt. Gentle, calm. I think calm. He also was someone who was rebellious. Prince did what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. Now let's look at Prince's numbers. Prince was born June 7th. He's a 7. As we know, 7 is the number of the mystic. 7 is the number of the one that is secretive, that is to themselves, the perfectionist. June, he has a 6th birth gate, Wow. So he really came through a gate of community and caretaking. Mm-hmm. And beautiful things and loving beautiful things and creative things. Let's see, 1958, he was born. So he had an ancestral current of 5. So his rebelliousness and his liberation came through his ancestors. That energy that he had. And let me see, 6, 7, 5. All right. So he had a ancestral current of 9. I mean, his divine mission number was a 9. So part of what he was assigned to do was affect the world. 9 is the humanitarian. It's to make music, because we know he's a musician, that healed. 9 is the healer. Mm-hmm. Let me gag y'all here. He passed away in 2016, which was a non-universal year. It was when he was supposed to go. I told you 9 was also is the number of accidents. He had an accidental overdose, but it was how he was supposed to go. His divine mission number was in alignment with the universe when he died. 6, 7. Let me see, 6. Let's look at his personal year when he died. He was in a master number 22 when he died, which meant that his legacy was going to be cemented that year. 22 plus 4. Uh-huh. He was in an 8 personal month. Plus, what, that's the 3rd week. Uh-huh. And a 7 personal week. So you see so many of his numbers. 9, his divine mission in the universe. 7, personal week. All of it came. It was exactly how he was supposed to go. Look, his teacher, baby, he died on April 21st, so 3. He was 57, which means the age spirit that was with him was a 3. That was the teacher spirit with him. Accidental overdose. Yeah. And so do y'all understand? I want y'all to hear this. Ready? When you see the numbers line up, on a greater scheme, the conspiracy theory of they killed Prince because of, it don't matter, because that's his numbers. That was what the destiny was. Whether they killed him, he overdosed, this, that, or the third, that's where his numbers were lined up. You understand what I'm saying? So to give the energy to the conspiracy and not give the energy to the completion is a misstep. You see what I'm saying? Elevate your mind, black brother and sister. It's a misstep. I don't care nothing about that. What does the number say, baby? How do the numbers line up? Your divine mission number. That's found by adding the month, day, and the year you were born together. And reducing. Versus you doing conspiracy theories all day long. Look, Jimmy, 9 is also, like I said, 9 is humanitarian. So 9 tends to have a global effect. 9 tend to be people who end up living abroad or who are very culture oriented. Jimi Hendrix, 1127. So he had a master number 11. So let's test this. Was Jimi Hendrix known to battle any mental health issues? I told y'all about master number 11, overcharging the mind. Jimi Hendrix faced significant mental health issues towards the end of his life. driven by extreme exhaustions, burnout, and the intense pressures of fame, being overloaded and overwhelmed. It's in the numbers, y'all. You said he was born on the 27th. So the 9, empathic, 9, the feeler. So you have a mass number 11 and your soul nature is 9. 11 is already an open current. 9 is so empathic. So he's just taking it in, taking it in. So now you put someone unfiltered, unsupported, and now you're famous. That pressure can easily get to you and take you out. 1 + 9 + 4 + 2. He had a 6 ancestral current. Let me see. Let me see if I said that right. Yeah, no, a 7. Secrets, right? Holding. So he's holding stuff in himself from his ancestors. That pattern of staying quiet through suffering. Right? Let's see. 11 + 9 + 7. He has a divine mission number of 9. So he has 2 9s. So how did Jimi Hendrix die? In an accident inside an inhalation of vomit following what is this? Barbiturate intoxication? Oh, so it was pills. Medicine that is used to cause sedation or reduce anxiety. Accidents. So we just looking at the pattern, baby. And there's a universal pattern like this. That's why we learned this. And we learn it to understand, not to be like, oh my God, I got a 9, I'm gonna die in an accident. No, that's not necessarily the case. But when you do die, we can look at your numbers and see what happened and understand. Because in all things we do, we must be searching for an understanding. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to understand it better by and by. Okay? And now, I don't even know if I should introduce this to y'all because this may blow y'all mind. So I found out I had a stalker. And my father, who is an ancestor, revealed a whole bunch of shit about them to me through them and in my dreams and in everything. Okay? Now, my father is an ancestor. Let me tell you this. Look now that you know the numbers, by looking at the numbers of the ancestors of yours that has transitioned, it will let you know what they can best help you with. Because it tells you how their soul is designed. My father's sacred count is 411. Master number 11, the revelation, the revealer. I'm sitting here trying to ask my dad to bring me money, and his soul is wired to reveal and bring forth revelation and breakthroughs. And let me gag y'all again. The year he revealed all this to me, I did his personal year, 411 plus that year, and it came to a 7. 7 is the number of the hidden information, right? Coming to the surface. Of course, he will come through and help me with this because all of his energy is wired to this. And you can do the same thing with your ancestors. Isn't that wild? And y'all getting some exclusive information because I ain't never even shared that with people before. So look at how now more specific your ancestral work can be. You want to work with your grandmother, but you didn't meet her. but you can see her birthday and you can find out so much about her and what her strengths are and weaknesses. And perhaps if you want to honor her, the type of person that she was, or he was, or they were, or whomever. Let's say this. Let's say you don't know your family, but you know their last name. You know the last name. You can do the numerology based in the name. And you could understand at least the energy frequency of that family. So it's a lot, okay, that you can do. So none of this, I didn't know my answer. I can't find. No, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And guess what? Gag here. If you don't know nothing about your ancestors, you know your ancestral current. So you know the ancestral energy that came to you. You see that? You know the year you're born. So that is your ancestral current. So there is not such a thing as not knowing your ancestors. You see what I'm saying? Don't worry, I'm prepping. I'm preparing. It's not the first book that I'm going to release, but I'm preparing the book where I'm going to, honey, the numbers. NUMBAS. But see, if you do these systems through white folks, they're not talking to you about no ancestors. They don't even look at it like that. But through the work that I was doing, I was like, baby, no, not yet. Not yet. I said, I did a lot of work. Spirit brought this to me. I promise you. Part of what I practice and what I believe, I, of course, was raised Christian, Baptist, honey. And then I started to have experiences that changed everything. In my experience, what I believe now, I believe what is closer to an ancient belief of animism, which is belief that all things are animated, have spirit, have energy, have essence, have some God in it. And because all things have a piece of God in it, you, me, the river, the tree, the music, the song, the cloud, we must honor and respect all things. That's what is the furthest ancestral belief that you can find. Is that simple. We honor the tree because God is in the tree. We honor the rocks because God is in the rocks. We honor the water because God's in the water. I honor you because God is in you. I honor myself because God is in me. Right? Hey, Michael. Hey, friend. So simple. That's how the ancients believe. And then we start to evolve as a people and started giving names and creating different religions and all types of things. And somebody had to be greater than everybody. But a true ancestral belief you will find across all indigenous cultures, oldest, uncolonized, untouched cultures, is a simple belief of what we could call animism. In all things, God is anima. All things are animated. Life is in all things. And so that's the baseline of my belief. The next step to my belief is that every time the source, the spirit, spoke to me or came to me, it did not come in the energy of a man. It always has been a mother, and it's felt like a mother. Didn't feel male, and was not any of those things that we attribute to maleness. It's always a mother. So you will hear me saying divine source, divine mother. It's the universal mother, the mother of the universe. Okay? It just didn't come to me like that. That's not how the source energy presented itself to me. Now the other people, that's their thing. They want to he, him, God all day long. That's just not accurate to my experience. Um, and so the mother, the mother, uh, gave this to me. I was in my apartment. I was on my bed and I was in meditation. And the mother, the cosmic mother, okay, the mother of the universe, honey, God the mother, whatever name you want to give that, honey, the mother visited with me and told me about the numbers and said, you have a book that you need to be reading to start you off. I was like, excuse me, baby. I went into the depths of my Kindle. And there's a book by Lloyd Stray. Excuse me. There's a book by Lloyd Strayhorn called Numbers in You, which started me off. But Lloyd Strayhorn only really talks about the birthday number. It's another things, but that's what he focuses on. In my works with the spirit, I have expanded it to the birth gate, the soul nature, the ancestral current, the divine mission, the age spirit. He talks about the like personal year and stuff like that. That is not anything that is new. That's a part of numerology, period. It has been. But yeah, that's how I got this, y'all. So when I tell you this is tested, tried, and true, honey, and the numbers don't lie. And then how it works, I would notice that I would read on things with my channeling and clairvoyance, and then I could look at the numbers and give me more information. And the shit that I read on and what the numbers were saying was all lining up. So when I divine, I got bones, I have numbers, I have my clairvoyance and my channeling. It's a lot of stuff that goes on here. It's a checks and balances. Honey, it's a checks and balance that goes on here. I'm hoodoo through and through. So I got these here. Okay. Hoodoo through and through. So I got these here. Okay. Hoodoo through and through. So I got these here. Okay. So if I need to do a working, honey, and hit you with a spade, I will. Okay, that's a different conversation. So I believe in the source. I believe in the spirit. I believe in God the Mother. That is how the spirit has expressed to me in the sense of the divine feminine and how the divine feminine energy works or operates, or when the divine energy starts moving, that is when you get the sacred masculine. It is really nothing but the mother in motion. Okay. It's the mother in motion. It's the mother giving herself form. A way you can understand divine femininity, divine masculinity in nature is divine femininity is the water that runs fresh, and is new and is wild. The divine masculine would be the river banks that can organize it. Why is it that you're not understanding this? And I'm sorry, somebody texted me over and over again. Hold on. What is the problem? It's my boyfriend, y'all. I said he gonna call me 3 times back to back. Must thinking I'm dead. Anyway, this mother guy have to evolve as an entity being as well as humans. Dare I say, Lady Di, I got a whole thing I'm writing about this. But this is what I would say. Lady Di said, does Mother Gaia have to evolve as an entity of being as well as humans? You see, Lady Di refers to the essence of the energy, honey, as Mother Gaia. And let me say this before I respond to that. Whatever you call it is what you should call it. I don't even think that we should interrupt what anybody thinks, baby. If they want to say Jesus and the Lord and Yeshua and Yeshua HaMashiach, honey, and El Shaddai, let the people say what they want to say. There's not a Christian hell or a spiritual hell for them to put in. Whatever you want to do and do, that's your business. And this is mine. Okay? I believe that because the mother, the source, the spirit is in us and in all things, as we live and grow, so does she. So does it. So does the source, and so does God. So God needs us just as much as we need God. The spirit is, we have a codependency, a healthy, prayerfully codependency. So as we evolve, as life evolves and learns, so does source, so does spirit. I don't believe that it is about the source or the spirit being all-knowing, because that gives me such supremacy vibes. I believe God is constantly, is ever learning. How about that? And knowing more each day, just like us. Ever knowing. Honey, continuing to know. And the practice of knowing constantly. Second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour. I also don't believe source, spirit, God, mother wants to be greater than us or above us or needs us to. Not at one point has the spirit came to me and say, worship. Y'all have told me that. The spirit did not come and tell me that. Me. I've only done these things because y'all have told me this throughout my life, that this is what I'm supposed to do. The mother, when I gave up the mother needing to be man and male and a religiosity, what I heard, and the only thing that the source, the spirit, has ever asked of me is to be well and do well. Everything, let me tell you something. People who talk about their ancestors come to them and their ancestors is having them do all types of works and blow smoke and do stuff. Sometimes you can say that, and sometimes that happens. But most of the time, the ancestors come to you to tell you what you need to do to grow. Working with your ancestors is not about you becoming the goddamn shadow man. It's about you evolving as a human and doing your work and being well. You said I had to switch to my laptop. That's the work of the ancestors. It could be another spirit, one of your other energies working with you, but your ancestors are coming because they are spirits that have lived a life and have lived many lives and have learned and have seen. And they are wanting you to be a continuance of their education, which requires for you to be a continuance of yours. To know thyself, to learn thyself, to be someone who is truly a student of spirit is to commit yourself to a lifetime of learning. Because I believe that God is a student as well. Otherwise, what's the point of evolution? If God is all and in all, as we do, so does God do. As we learn and evolve, so does God. And there's a reason why we don't die, because God does not either. There is death, but there is no such thing as being dead. You keep on living just in another form, and your ancestors are evolving in their forms, and they got other lives and other things that go on that side, child, that we're not going to know till we get over there. But I think God is as eager a student as you, as I. As that is the reason why there is a plenty of versions of us. That is also the reason why everybody can't do the same goddamn thing and be the same motherfucking person and worship and practice the same thing and do the same. No, everybody must be different and queer and strange and unique. And then there's room for those that are not, that are monotonous, that are regular, that are simple. All of that is necessary because God is learning through all of that. What is all cannot have an opposite. The opposite of 100 is 0. It's nothing. So I would believe that also the greatest lie is that of the separation. There's nothing that you can do. There's nothing that you can't do. Nothing that you will be able to do that will separate you from the source, from the spirit. The only thing that can give you that feeling is your belief that you are, but you are not. That's why you are not your brother's keeper or your sister's keeper. You are your brother. You are your sister. Now y'all don't awaken my Ori. Okay, the teacher is here. All right, my count is 8987. Okay. Obatala, baby. Your spirit moves to the next level, in my opinion. Absolutely. And the other level. And as does everything else. We're the ones that said that God is perfect. I don't ever think God was trying to be perfect. I don't even think that was the thing. Michael, we may have to dialogue on the ableism of the divine and how ableist we are towards the divine. Michael, this is too much. This is too much. Mm-hmm. You said a friend once asked you, what would it mean if God made a mistake? Mm-hmm. Yes. And y'all better follow Michael. I'm not playing with y'all. Y'all see Michael J. Ivory Jr.? Follow him. I say this and I'll say this until I am an ancestor. And then I'll be whispering it in the wind. If we need to send someone to write on behalf of the Milky Way, send Michael. He got it. We'll be all right. I mean, Jesus returned with wounds and the biblical God had regrets. I agree. I agree. Yeah. So absolutely. I agree. Yeah. So that's what I think. Okay. 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 That's what I believe. Do you feel like you have to date someone who's spiritual for it to work? I have to date somebody who is radically open for sure. And you don't have to be into all the woo woo as I am, as that what they call it, woo woo. But if I tell you to take this root and put in your pocket for the whole day, you just gonna do it. You're like, okay. You like, listen, babe told me to put this in my pocket. I don't know what it do, but I'll show put it in my pocket. And I got friends like that. My best friend is like that. He's more of a Oprah, um, he's more of an Oprah spiritualist. He's very much the power of now. He don't get into the ancestors and all the other stuff. But he also was is a soldier. And when he was deployed, there's a lot of things that happened to a lot of people, but there's a lot of things that did not happen to him. And when he came back from his deployment and he was unpacking his stuff, he showed me the mojo bag that I gave him, and he kept that thing underneath his uniform. And he came back all right. He don't know nothing about it. He said, I don't know what's in it. I don't know nothing that they do or you do with this, but I know Darcel gave me this mojo bag, and I'm going to keep it on. That's it. And I keeps it on. Okay. He knows. He be like, Darcel, what is it? If I tell him something, he's going to listen. He don't really get into it. So it'd have to be something like that. You'd have to have a respect for what I do. And I'm grateful that my boyfriend, he specifically prayed for a spiritual man that is into everything that I am into, and so in his prayer worked. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. If Jesus felt all of our pain, that means he felt all of it, regret included. Yeah, I think if God could make a mistake, we would have to admit that divinity is not this static perfection, and that it is dynamic, and that it's ever learning, and that divinity require, if that's the case, then to be divine is to be an immaculate student, a devoted student. That this is an ever expanding intelligence that is engaged in the act of creation rather than just finished products. And that feels good to me. Don't that feel good to y'all? That feels good to me. I don't want a stubborn, stuck God. I don't want that. Thank you, Sister Slash. That's another OG. Oh, wow. Good to see you. Glad that you are well and doing the things that you're doing as well as you do them. May you continue to do them even better. I would also say that that belief also shifts God from an all-controlling image, an all-controlling, distant architect into something that is relational. As I experience, so does he, so does she, so does it, so do they, so does that. And that would truly mean that creation is collaborative. Yeah, we just not subject to the will, but that there is a collaboration. Michael said the other thing I'm pointing to is that God is a responsibility as opposed to a means of escape from said responsibility. And that's why, Michael, our greatest breakthrough hasn't been from getting the cure and from the escape. It has been from the living and the learning and the looking and the waiting. Yeah. And then that would mean, y'all, that failure, that mistakes, suffering, disorder, evil are not simply punishments or flaws, but it is information. And it is a sacred data. And it is part of the evolutionary process, to which, when I was in the hospital, the message that hit me, was I in the hospital? Was I not? I think I was at my dialysis training. No information is harmful to me. All information is helpful to me. Nothing that you tell me that's information is harmful to me. Thus, the mistake, the suffering, the disorder, this, that, and the third is information. So all of it is helpful to God. It's data. So maybe we need to stop using failure altogether. I got some new information today. You know what? I went for that job and I got a whole bunch of information. Yeah. 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 I think that we're on to it. And if y'all want to see the replay of this is definitely on my YouTube. Now I got to rename this, all types of shit. I got to name it Celebrity Numbers, Honey, God, a Human, the humanity of God, the ableism of God. Yeah. I don't think we're meant to be separate from God's growth. And how alleviating is it to hear that God is still growing? And if God is still growing, surely you can. God is still growing, and surely so could I. God is still becoming. And so exactly where I am, not a finished product. I think the finished product is the lie. Completion is the lie. You're always growing. The end is the lie. Even a death is transition. That is still movement. It's never ending. That's the lie. I think God is growing. And so are we. God, the eternal student, a creator and a witness, just like you. Because you know what that means? That your growth, your errors, your mistakes, the time when you was doing this low, cheating, got cheated on, suffered, had the mental breakdown, lost this, grief, whatever it is. Growth and change and even uncertainty is all holy. Just keep committing to being a student. I think so. I think we might. We just might choose our numbers before we get here, honey. Because that's when we decide to come. We are definitely a part of that process. Hmm. That's the contract, I think. Figuratively contract. And that gives me great peace to know that God is still growing. And so am I. And so can I. You're so dramatic for that. Yes. Uh-huh. How beautiful is that? Ain't that gorgeous? Isn't it good to know that God is still growing? And another thing about our mindfulness, and as we learn ourselves, you will know when something feels good, when something feels right. In this understanding, there's a piece that is at the belly of this that we're discussing and understanding today. This is something we done figured out together as us. There's a piece in the belly of this, right? Mm, mm, mm. Whoa. Michael, listen, Michael said, whoa, the word complete etymologically means full, as in unable to receive anything else. Lorana said, my mental health has been struggling and this information is really helping me. I'm so happy to hear that. Therefore, how can God be both infinite and complete? Wow, that's good. Couldn't be. Couldn't be. That's yeah, couldn't be. God cannot be both infinite and complete. I love that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Baby, me and God is in the school, enrolled in school at the same time. God must always be expanding. And that is why God is love. Love, here's the difference. Fear restricts you. Love always expands you. If love is present, you're going to grow. A relationship where love is, they will love you enough to leave you and let you leave them if that is what's necessary for your growth and your expansion. Love expands. Fear restricts. God is my study mate. Both y'all figuring this out together. God's always expanding. Yeah. Yeah. So God may not be incomplete in deficiency, but incomplete in possibility. So God is whole enough to be divine, yet infinite enough to keep becoming. I honor that. There is not a newness God fears. No, no, that's right. There is not a change God cannot understand. Come on now. We study here. No. Which is why I can say God is the river, because the river is always new. Which is why God is in me, and God is me, and I am God, and you are, and we are, and this is, because this is always expanding, always growing, always evolving. And as I am, God is. Right where I am, God is. Yeah. So our existence is a living classroom, dare I say. And all parts, new mercies I see. Robo, come on, don't get me shouting. I'm still Baptist. Hey, hold on. And all creation is a part of this divine education. And we are grateful. Come on, me and God are colleagues, baby. Study mates. But you see how there is no desire to be higher than, greater than. And I think by us accepting that this teaching of God being one, so far away from us, two, so far above us, and superior, that is a supremacist ideology that comes from the oppressors, okay? Where somebody needs to be that, needs to be above. I believe God is only interested in being with us and not on top of us. That's a man. That's not God. That's not the spirit. That's not the source. Yeah. Yeah. And that then means that my consciousness matters, because I too carry divine intelligence. I too participate in sacred thought. Therefore, my consciousness matters. How would it change if the all God inspired in turn inspired on ourselves? That's good, Michael. God loves me enough to learn with me. Come on, LaRonda. Yes. LaRonda, we getting stirred up over here, okay? LaRonda, it's too late to be stirred up like this. He gave me one more chance. If the awe God inspires also awaken the awe towards ourselves, Baby, divinity can't be external no more. Couldn't be distant, couldn't be above. It is only within. Yeah. I think shame will weaken because many systems rely on smallness to uphold the greatness of God. And if all turn inward, the self-hatred, the unworthiness, the fear-based spirituality will have to lose its power. And that would then mean, to your point earlier, Michael, about responsibility would increase. You couldn't blame it on the devil no more, or on this or that. No. It's about you. You are equal in this. You will know you cannot deny your power or your capacity or your influence. It's an inside job. And if everyone operated like this, it'll be really hard to sustain oppression because you don't got a God that supports it. Right now, there's a God that supports it. Too many want a transcendent spirituality when an integrative spirituality is needed. Absolutely. You trying to go up to the 5th D, you need to go in here. You need to be able to go within, baby, because oppression cannot stand in the face of true love, and true character cannot. And when we say the awe of self, Michael, that sounds like a code. That sounds like a book we're going to co-write. When we say the awe of self, this is not of eco worship, but this we are recognizing our sacredness. Leave the aliens alone and learn to apologize. Baby, now that's one thing I can't get into. The people wanting to contact the ET, extraterrestrial beings, as Darcel, who I am and what I practice and what I believe, what I know, that is not spirits. Those are entities, bitch. Those are in the flesh. That's not the spirit, bitch. Those are creatures. They have no spiritual obligation to elevate you. Those are creatures, baby. Aliens are not spiritual. Look to your neighbor and say, aliens are not spiritual. If they are beings and they exist, bitch, they are still beings. Okay? I ain't saying you can't believe in it. And then it's another thing. Everybody want us to be, from different universes and stuff. And okay, that's fine. But once you find out that you're from Xenon, what that got to do with this stuff that you still won't heal and release? Whether you are from Earth, Mars, Venus, Xenon, baby, the Pleiades, wherever you from, the work is still the work. No shade. I know we all want to be in the Anunnaki and the Ayaya. Been around the world and I ain't saying nothing's wrong with it, but you still got to do your work. Now, once you find out what solar system and star you're from, the work is still here. They are creatures. They are beings within creation. They are like you. Maybe they advanced, maybe they just unfamiliar, but they are entities. They're not spiritual sources. And why they ain't take y'all home? Michael, please. Michael, please. Ain't these your people? Yeah. Why they ain't come get y'all yet? If these your people, why haven't they come and got you? So they sitting at home and you not? Well, that's kind of trash. That's kind of trash. Seem like they like a drop and run to me, truly. And I also understand, especially as Black people, because the world has just been so cruel and mean and awful to us, we have a radical desire through our coping mechanism to empower ourselves. What was that? Oh, what was this? To empower ourselves. And so we are willing to accept and champion and repeat a lot of things that will help us to feel like we are somebody instead of just knowing that we are somebody. And us being aliens and detaching Black humanity from earthly history, you easily erase African civilizations and indigenous knowledge systems and Black ass science. In the same way, when everybody got to be queens and kings in Africa. Everybody wasn't no king and queen. People were merchants and medicine men and women and regular people. And I know it's an affirmation. I know it's an affirmation against the way the system has devalued us as a people. But truthfully, Africa contained vast civilizations and empires and villages and laborers and artisans, honey, and leaders, spiritual leaders, farmers, warriors, bitches, scholars. There's a lot of that, girl. But everybody was an African. It's a royal, and it's a respectability politic here that is making you want that to be the case. It says that you came from greatness, but then it also says that greatness requires monarchy, and that's the motherfucking problem. The kings and the queens was the issue, bitch. Please. And we're not dependent upon crowns. Our worth is not dependent upon crowns. The healer, the farmer, the blacksmith, the priestess, the strategist, the mother, the builder, all carry sacred value. Now that's African. That's Black. And what about, why when you think of a king and queen, you think about Nefertiti? Michael and I was talking about this. First of all, that's a trick bag. You want to keep thinking about Egypt. We West Africans, babes. You ain't over there. Same thing with Ethiopia. They want to talk about Christianity and Ethiopia and Ethiopian Bible. Are you Ethiopian? Are you Ethiopian? No. The best, just factually, you may came from middle of Africa, a little bit of the South, but you really came from the West. That's just the truth. We ain't from no damn Egypt. Okay? Sorry. Exactly. Igbo, Yoruba, Akan. We were these people. All of them. And I also hate that. And I dated before I found, and he's probably listening right now. Let me see if my boy Eli may be in here listening to me right now on live. Eli is my boyfriend's name. But before him, I dated a man named David. He was from Zimbabwe. He was a chef, honey. He spoke 6, 7 languages, honey, you know, all that. And then he tried to play me some gospel music. And I was listening to it, and I was hearing marimbas and all types of stuff. Baby, what is this? I'm from Texas, South Texas. My people front near the water. What is this? This is not gospel. Y'all trying to do dun 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 with flutes. I don't know what's going on here. And it was then I learned that y'all do not have the blues. And the blues came from those that crossed the water. And if you are not of the people that crossed the water and you stay where you were, you are my people, but there is a difference. There is a difference between you and me. There's a difference. Because when you think of royalty, you should think, when you think of Black royalty, you should be thinking about your mama and your grandmama. And I think that's where the conversation is actually powerful. Because Black Americans, we have forged identity. That's why motherfuckers, listen, motherfuckers want to talk about we not from here. Everybody didn't, listen, we didn't come across the water. We ain't African. We was just from here. Please. Y'all, with that belief, can go with the Hebrew Israelites. We're not doing this. I'm not going to do this in 2026. That is a way, an attempt to distance yourself from what you think is shameful of your people and their experience. You're trying to distance yourself from the truth of Blackness. We can't do that. We're not going to deny the history of us coming across the water. And if you think all of us was indigenous here, go ahead and cut on some Navajo music and tell me if you catch the spirit. We as Black people, because of our fullness of our journey, we have forged identity and culture and language and resistance and innovation underneath the world's and history's most violent systems. That's the gag. How you indigenous and that Christian as hell? That's the gag, Michael. So what is royalty here? Toni Morrison is royalty. James Baldwin is royalty. Fannie Lou Hamer is royalty. Community elders are royalty. The survivors are royalty. It doesn't have to be inherited like monarchy. It's also forged. And there you have it. And everybody trying to be royal, that fixation is what creates the elitism that we be windmilling against. So please, when our collective dignity, I think, is more liberating. We come, instead of we're all kings and queens, we come from builders and visionaries and protectors and creators and survivors. We don't need aristocracy to have Black dignity. There's a power in art, in our people's spirit, in our community, in our transformation, in our labor. The fact that we were able to create as architects beauty and power and life and identity in the face of empire. That too is sovereignty. Baby, we did some talking today. We did some good talking today. LaRonda, we done did some good talking today. I don't even know what. I got to name this video so many things, child. I got to hire somebody. I ain't got time to go back and label. I really don't. Meanwhile, Michael and I are working on the Black devotionalist movement. So, also affectionately known as BDM. We got to come with a new name for all this stuff, child. because we're gonna do all this. I'm gonna shake my rice, blow my smoke, talk to the mother, and then if y'all start playing For Every Mountain, I'm still catching the Holy Ghost. Okay, I still listen to gospel music. I still catch the Holy Ghost. That's called being black. But I will say it's the same Holy Ghost that hits me when I'm listening to funk music and the groove get too nasty and I gotta shake. It's the same Holy Ghost that hit me when I'm watching battle rap and a bar is just so nasty I gotta take off running. It's the same one. It's the same one that hit me when my pork and beans touch my macaroni and cheese and I accidentally scoop it up together. It's the same one. It's the same one that hit me when I put it on and I step out. And I be the bad motherfucker that I am. It's the same one. Okay. It's the same one that exhilarates me in a game of Rummy 500 or dominoes or spades when I'm playing and communing with my family. And a play's just so cold. We can't believe it. It's the same one. Same Holy Ghost that live in the bottom of black pots, seasoned skillets. It's the same one. And to that we say, Ashe, and amen, and robabo, and goddamn. Ashe, amen, and goddamn. All that. That's some black shit. Okay. Ashe, amen, and goddamn. Yes, indeed. That's why I've had nightmares of me not being black, and I just like I had nightmares of me being a straight man. I woke up, I couldn't believe it. I had a baby mama. I had on a muscle shirt around the house, a tank top. I had homies in the living room playing the game. I was terrified. Oh my God. I was terrified. I couldn't believe this. I couldn't believe it. I woke up stressed. I could not believe that. I said, dear God. But I'm grateful it was only a dream. All right, people. I love y'all from a light-filled place. Be well, do well. Remember, if you see this, whenever you saw this, I'm your sign to continue. Okay? I'm your people. I'm your equal. Be well, do well is all the Spirit asks of you. All right? I will talk to you all later, but make sure y'all talk to yourselves before you talk to me. All right. Peace, everybody.